your exam. Most probably. So first topic is different resources of metals. As we know, we never get metal directly from the nature. Instead of that, we get minerals or ore, from which we can extract metals, right? So different resources means we can have primary kind of resources, we can have secondary kind of resources. And the last one is end of life product. These are the three resources of metals. First one is primary resources, second one secondary, and last one is end of life product. Fine. So primary resources you understood, minerals and giving ore and minerals. So that those are primary resources, right? But secondary resources is very important. Why? Because secondary resources means, for example, as we know, after mineral processing, the next stage is metal extraction stage, right? Yes. We extract the metals out of the concentrate. Is it okay? But so when we are extracting metals out of the concentrate, and we are using two products. One is called metal and one is called slag. You have to remember that. One phase is metal, one phase is slag. Both are in molten state. That means at the end of metal extraction, you get molten metal and molten slag also. Right? So slag also contains some amount of metallic values. For example, blast furnace slag. Blast furnace means it is a furnace which produces molten iron. So that blast furnace will also give you molten slag, right? So in that blast furnace slag, you have calcium, you have silicon, you have manganese, right? So these are metallic values, right? So slag is also containing metallic values. So that's why it is a secondary resources, not primary. Because our primary aim is to produce iron. But with iron also you are getting another byproduct, right? So basically, secondary resources are byproducts of extractive metallurgical processes. Is it okay? A best example is slag. Suppose the same example, I want to make steel out of iron, right? So I will get molten steel, right? And also I will get a molten slag. So what will be there in molten slag? I will be having iron in that slag also. I will be having some amount of calcium, some amount of silicon, right? But which form it will be there? Anybody remember? We discussed that. Slag and metal never mix, right? Why? Density difference. Okay, fine. That is one point. Anything else? About composition, I am asking. Composition. Slags are mostly oxides, you have to remember, or silicate. So oxide and silicate never mix with metal, mostly. But if it is sulfide, you remember, metal and sulfide are miscible. So that's why it is very difficult to extract metal directly from the sulfide ores. I told you once. It is very difficult to extract metal directly from sulfide ore. Why? Once you try to reduce the sulfide, you may get metal, but you will be having a mixture of sulfide and metals together. So you are extracting, but you are not separating them. So that is very difficult. So what is the solution anyway? You have to do roasting first. You convert the sulfide ore into oxide first, then you go for reduction. Then you will be having a slag, which is oxide, and you have a metal. Is it okay? After this? Okay, fine. Second resource is understood. One example is slag, right? Similarly, one example is I am giving residue. The residue means it may be after mineral processing also, if you remember. After mineral processing, we basically get three products or two products. Two products means concentrate and tailings, right? So already I have written tailings here. You process any ore, you will get tailings. Those tailings also contain some metallic values. You can consider as a low grade ore, very, very low grade ore, you can say, or low grade minerals. Is it okay after this?
Yes, sir.
So best example of residue is bauxite residue, you can write. Bauxite residue. Bauxite residue means after processing of bauxite, you will get a residue that is called bauxite residue. In other words, it is called red mud, technically. Red mud. Why? Because its color is red color, because it contains a lot of iron oxide. Right? Already we have discussed this thing, right? So residue example is bauxite residue or red mud. So that means when you do mineral processing on bauxite, you will end up with concentrate and also another product, byproduct, that is called red mud, or that is your bauxite residue. Is it okay? So that is also tally actually, but I am writing it. Then slimes. Slimes actually, these are very fine particles. Similarly, people call iron ore slimes. Iron ore slimes means if you do mineral processing of high grade iron ore, you will end up with concentrate of iron ore as well as iron ore slimes. But those are tailings actually. The broad name is tailings. anything after mineral processing is called tannins actually. But you can call residue, you can call slimes, whatever. So iron ore slimes or iron ore tannins, whatever. Fine. They may be considered as a low grade iron ore. I told you, no, always you will not get concentrate having like it is not a pure form. Some amount of gangs will be there. Similarly, in the tailings also you have lot of gangs, but some amount of concentrate or metallic values will be also there. That's why. Okay. So nowadays people are working on this. This is a very like people are working on this nowadays. If you want to do higher study, you can work on this area. That is called recycling. Recycling process. Lot of demand is there nowadays. Very much demand. Because nowadays I told nothing is waste. Nothing is waste. Earlier what they used to do? They used to discard it. But nowadays they are recovering values out of it. Okay, anyways. And I told another type of is that is called end of life product. End of life product means you are using a cell phone. Maybe after 5 years or 6 years you will discard it. But that cell phone also contains lot of costly metals like gold is there. If you are using a premium mobile like for example Samsung or maybe your iPhones, Apple iPhones. So those have gold in it, those have silver in it. They need very high conductivity, so they use gold and silver strips. So that is very expensive. Now you know the cost of gold now. 10 gram is maybe nearly 1.3 or 4 kind of, right? So very expensive. So that means actually these are called electronic waste. So electronic waste contains metallic values in it, right? It may be TV or whatever, right? Electronic waste. And hard disk, can you tell me hard disks have which kind of metals? Hard disk, you know, in the computers or yeah, right? Hard disks have those are magnets actually, magnets. Those magnets store the memory. Whatever you are giving data, that is stored by the magnets actually. Those are magnets, and magnets, they are very strong magnets actually. Strong magnets means they have iron, Nd and B. Nd is neodymium, right? So iron is there, neodymium is there, and boron is there. Neodymium, Nd is what? It is a rare earth and very expensive, very very expensive. Iron is easily available, but Nd is not easily available, right? So you can extract Nd, iron, and boron out of that. So it hard disk, right? Similarly, batteries. Nowadays we are talking about EVs, electric vehicles. Already electric vehicles, you are going by this Amobos, right? Not most, Amobos, right? So most of the Amobos nowadays, they are electric vehicles, you see, right? EVs. So they have lot of critical metals in it, lot of critical metals. Because that battery is made up of critical metals. They have cobalt, they have lithium, right? They may have scandium, many things are there, many critical metals are there. So those are end of life products. Fine? So these are, you understood now what are different resources, primary, secondary and end of life products. Fine? But if you look into the source of metal, then the base source of metal is what? Our earth crust, you have to remember. Our earth crust. Okay, from the last bench, can you tell me what are the different layers of earth? You. Any of you? What are different layers? No. Last bench. I'm asking you. Yeah. Layers of. If you go deep into the earth, you have 4 layers. The first layer is called crust, the top layer. Second, mantle. Then if you go into the core, they have 2 types of core, outer and inner. Okay, can you tell me what is the phase of inner core and outer core? That means it is solid, liquid or gas? Inner core and outer core are asking. Outer is? And inner is? Are you sure inner is solid? Inner is also liquid. The point is if you go deep into the earth, the temperature increases, right? If you go beyond the earth crust, temperature will fall. So, inner core is what and outer core is what? Can you tell me? Liquid. Inner core is molten. But you are forgetting another parameter is there, pressure is also there. If you go deep into the earth crust, that is why we do not dig earth and make a route from one country to another country. You can make a easy route, but we are not doing that. Why? Because pressure is increasing. If you go deep into the earth crust, the pressure will increase. it will apply pressure on your body, right? Right, yeah. So the point is, the inner core is solid. It should be liquid. Listen carefully. The inner core should be in liquid. Why? Temperature is very high if you go to inner core, right? But pressure is also very high. So pressure is so high that atoms are very close to one another. Solid state means what? Atoms are very closely bonded, right? So solid. But outer core is liquid. Because pressure is also there, but temperature is so high that it is in liquid state. You have to remember these things, they are very important points, right? And can you tell me inner core is made up of which metals mostly? Silicon. I am talking about core. Yeah, you should know these things. Those are basically made up of nickel and iron. Nickel and iron. That's why Earth has magnetic field. You know, Earth has a magnetic field that protects from what? Solar radiations. Very good. Because solar flares are coming from the sun. Those are very dangerous. But this magnetic field protects. Anyways, we will not discuss that. So our core and these are made up of basically iron and nickel. That's why it is magnetic. These are ferromagnetic materials, nickel and iron. Okay, anyways. Now, okay, first source is I told, earth crust, fine. And another best source is your oceans and sea. Because sea water and ocean water contain a lot of minerals. What are the minerals in sea water? It is salty now, sodium is there. Sodium NaCl, right? Sodium is there, magnesium is there. Lot of magnesium and sodium are obtained from the sea water itself. You have to remember. The sea water and oceans are the another source of metals. Fine. But there is another source that is called sea bed also. Sea bed. If you go deep into the sea and the bed, the bottom of the sea, those have lot of mineral value. Nowadays some countries like US, China, they are actually doing mining inside the sea. They are doing mining, but it is very difficult to do mining. Why? The pressure is increasing. If you go into the deep sea, the pressure will increase. It is very difficult to do mining, right? But you can use some robots and all. That is possible, but it is very expensive. Like you have to go to some 6,000 meters deep into the sea. Then you can do mining there. So this is one of the examples I have shown here. Those are called polymetallic nodules. People ask this kind of question: what is polymetallic nodules? Actually, if you go deep into the sea and you reach to the sea bed, you will get nodular shape, means spherical shaped nodules. Those have lot of minerals in it. And some people also call manganese nodules. Why? Because lot of manganese are there. Lot of manganese are there in nodules. That's why it is called manganese nodules or polymetal means poly means many, metals means lot of metals will be there. So each nodule is having lot of metals, like it will be having manganese, it will be having cobalt, it will be having iron, nickel, lot of metals will be there together. So that's why it is called polymetallic. And spherical form. So nodules. Nodules means spherical forms. You can see, this is one of the examples. Lot of nodules are there. But it is very difficult to obtain. Okay, anyways, then, okay, fine. There is a concept called phytomining. Listen carefully. There is a concept called phytomining. Can you correlate this one? Phytomining. Where this comes? Phyto means? Sorry? Yeah, you can be wrong, but phytomining. Phyto comes from plants, the word plants. So there are certain plants, listen carefully, there are certain plants. They do what? If you grow them, they will absorb lot of mineral into it. The plants will absorb. Specifically, they will absorb a particular. So, actually, my supervisor, my PhD supervisor, he's working on that right now. So, he got a project from France. So, in the France, there is a startup. What they are doing? They are cultivating a particular kind of plants. They are absorbing nickel into it. Specifically, they will absorb nickel. Lot of nickel they will absorb. So what will happen? You take those plants, you dry it, and you use process metallurgy, extractive metallurgy process on it. So you can get nickel out of it. Because that is plant already did the concentration process. It already absorbed the nickel and the concentration of nickel is very high in that. You understand my point? So you have to know which plant can absorb what kind of metals. There are certain kind of plants, they absorb a particular metals in it, a particular mineral in it. So that is called phytomining. Mining means you are doing mining Phyto means related to plant. So there are certain kind of plants, they absorb a particular mineral into it, and you can extract metals out of those plants by using process metallurgy or extractive metallurgy, pyrometallurgy or hydro whatever. Anyways, this is very interesting, right? So plants can be also a secondary resources, I can say. There are certain kind of plants, you can call it the secondary resources. But nickel is actually expensive, that's why we are doing. Nickel is very expensive. You cannot do for iron. Already iron is available in form of ores, right? Or slag, right? Whatever. So anyways, I told you about, crust is done, seawater, sea beds, right? And this phytomining already told you. And other things I told you already here. These are the sources. Okay, we'll move into this one. If you remember anybody, what are the two fundamental operation in crushing mining? Sorry? Yeah. No. Unit process and operation. Unit processes means extractive metallurgy mostly. But that means what is the objective of mineral processing? Why we are doing? Two things I told you already. Liberation. You remember liberation, release, right? Unlocking. Because initially gangue mineral and valuable minerals, they are locked together in the nature. You need to release them. Suppose this is your metallic value and this is your gangue value. They are already locked form, right? In the mineral. You need to unlock it, separate it, right? So that's why the first thing is unlocking or release or liberation, and second one is separation, or that is also called concentration process. So there are two fundamental operations in mineral processing. One is called release, one is called concentration. Or you can say release, unlock or whatever, and you can say separation. Why? Because how we are doing unlocking? By reducing the size, if you remember. The comminution process, very good, you know comminution. We reduce the particle size and it becomes what? Powder. That means 1 meter of mineral will become some micron, right? So 1 meter become micron size, you can understand, right? So you will be having a mixture of gangue powder and valuable mineral powder. You need to separate them later. So that's why it is called concentration process, separation. First you do unlocking, then you do separation. Done, mineral processing is done. You will get a concentrated line. Is it okay up to this, or you have any confusion? Okay, so now this is important because this, you may get a question from this. Steps in mineral processing or 4 principal operation of mineral processing. So we'll start with run of mines. So if you start with run of mines, it is also called ROM. The first step is called comminution. And comminution is nothing but size reduction. It is a size reduction operation. Fine. And comminution is done by crushing followed by grinding. So run of mines means you are doing mining, and from mining you are transporting to somewhere. That is called run of mines. Right? So from the run of mines, the size of the ore or mineral will be of meter size, some meter, maybe 2 meter, 3 meter. You can understand 1, 2 meter means how much big size rocks will be there, minerals will be there. So first stage is you have to do comminution, and comminution means size reduction. You have to reduce the size to finer. Fine. Is it okay? And that can be done by crushing and grinding. Anybody remember I also told you in the previous class? Can you tell me why grinding is required if crushing is enough? Yeah. Actually, the point is if you do only crushing, then you will be having lot of middlings. Lot of middlings will be there. Middlings means still your metallic values is locked with the gangue values. It is not released. It is not getting separated yet, right? So lot of middlings will be there. But you don't need middlings. You need what? Concentrate and tailings at the end. No? Tailings and concentrate. Right? So that's why you need to do more size reduction. Further size reduction is required again. So that's why we are going for grinding. So crushing means some meter to centimeter maybe. and grinding means maybe centimeter to micron, complete powder, right? Is it clear? So more you reduce the size, more you can liberate, or more you can release, or more you can unlock, right? Is it fine? So that means if I move in this direction, my liberation will increase. If I move from crushing to grinding, my liberation will increase. Unlocking will be more. Okay, fine. Then, anyways, the first is this one. The second stage is called sizing or size separation. Sizing or size separation. The name itself is saying. That means after crushing or grinding, you will be not having same size of products. You will be having multiple size, different random size will be there. Random size, maybe 10 to the power 4 difference will be there. Just imagine 10 to the power 4. You take a small size and big size, the difference will be maybe 10 to the 4. So random size of particles will be there. So that's why we need to separate them. And separation can be done by screening, or there is another process called classification. You have to remember, sizing or size separation can be done by screening or classification. Screening means we are using some physical screens, right? So if you do screening, what kind of product you will get? You will get an oversize and you will get an undersize. So undersize means that is fine, so it will pass through the screen. Oversize means it will remain on the screen. So that means again you have to do crushing on it. For example, you do crushing, let it be. You start doing crushing. After doing crushing, you pass it through the screen, right? So you will be having an oversize and you will be having an undersize. Undersize will be going for next step, but oversize will be come back to the early stage. Again you need to do crushing on it, right? So this is the repetition. Again you pass through the screens. So this is a continuous process. But the point is, screening is done from the starting, from the run of mines. When you do, you know how they are doing open cast mining? Any idea you have? They're doing blasting. They're doing blasting actually. They put bomb and that will blast. So when blasting will happen, you will be having different size particles. You may have some powders also during that. So you pass everything, that powder, big size, small size, through the screen first. So what will happen? The finer particles will go away. That don't require any crushing. Already it is fine. You can directly send it to grinding maybe, depending on the size. You understood? So coarse particles will be going for crusher. Then after crushing, you pass through again through a screen, right? And you see what are oversize and undersize. Okay, fine. Classification. So classification actually is done in a liquid medium. Water will be there also. That is actually called slurry. Slurry means it is a combination of water and fine minerals. You have to remember, right? So classification, okay fine. If we have screens, why we need this classification? Can you tell me? Basically, if we have a screen, physical screen is there, it is easy to do. But classification is liquid will be there. Water and fine particles will be there.
By screening only two are separable. But by classification we more separate.
Okay. Actually, yeah, he is also right. You are somewhat right. The point is, classification starts after grinding. Actually, listen it carefully. Screening basically done from starting to crushing part, because particle size are coarser, so you can separate oversize, undersize easily through physical screens. But if the particles become powder, complete powder, micron size, 10 micron for example, you can understand 10 micron, so fine, you cannot pass through a screen. You understood? They are so fine, everything will be remain on the screen itself. Very difficult to pass away because it contains moisture, right? And there will be van der Waals force between them also. If you convert a big size particle into powder, they will automatically become agglomerated. They will become lump. Why? Because van der Waals force is there. You remember these forces and all? Yes, very weak force. So automatically two particles become one particle, or maybe 10 particles become one particle, again become coarser. So that's why you make it to do classification. So screening cannot be possible with very fine particles. Very fine particles, it is very difficult to do. Otherwise, If it is, suppose you will say, so we'll dry it and do it. It is possible. It may pass through, most of the particle will pass through the steam because it is so fine. You understood? So that's why we are going for classification. And classification is done in wet medium. Means liquid water will be there with that. And classification is basically done after grinding process. Is it okay? You understood my point? So next is called concentration. Concentration process. Concentration. Concentration is nothing but, you understood, size separation. Just will separate the gangue and the concentrate. And technically, some people also call beneficiation. Actually, the name beneficiation comes from this concentration process. Is it okay? Concentration process means it is a separation process. We are simply separating fine gangue from the fine valuable minerals. That's all. And you remember the processes. You remember, anybody? What are the different processes for concentrations? Gravity concentrations, electric concentrations, magnetic concentration, flotations, right? Those are actually concentration processes. I was discussing this one during your properties of mineral, if you remember, right? Okay, anyways, concentration means separation. So you'll be having gangue and concentrate. Concentrate, fine. Then finally, we need to do another one, dewatering. 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 Dewatering means we need to separate the water from the particles. Why? Water is very expensive. Maybe some people are saying world war will be happening because of water one day. The water scarcity will be so high, they will fight country will fight among themselves to get water. You know, Odisha is facing one issue. Okay, can you tell me, just raise your hand. I want to know how many of you know. Now Odisha is facing one of the issue. You know this?
From Chhattisgarh.
Yeah, okay, you don't tell. I want from backside. You are not going through the news. At least go through the news. Odisha is facing one crisis, that is the Mahanadi water has gone down. You know, because Mahanadi water is coming from Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh already built a dam. It is stopping the water, right? So nowadays this Hirakud dam is also having less amount of water, you know, because of this. So there may be a fight between Odisha and Chhattisgarh. I don't know, maybe. Not war. Anyways, so the point is, to run any industry, you need power, that is electricity. You need water also, right? You cannot waste the water. So that means the water could again recycle into the process. So that's why the process is called dewatering. Dewatering means we are separating the water from the minerals at the end. Okay, and that water can be recycled again into the process, grinding process. Okay, fine. That's why dewatering is done. So dewatering can be done by clarification, filtration, clarification, filtration. Mostly they use this one, clarification, filtration. They also call decantation. These are the names, decantation. You have visited somewhere. Anybody have seen these processes? Filtration, decantation or clarification. Okay, anyways, for example, I am talking about decantation. Decantation means what? Finally you will be having concentrate, right? And that concentrate is in form of slurry, I told. Water will be there and fine concentrate will be there. So you allow the concentrate to stay for some time. What will happen? The minerals will settle down. The water will remain on the top. You take the water out. Simply. Is it clear? This is simple. Use the gravity. So due to gravity, what will happen? The minerals will settle down. The water will remain on top. You take the water out. But clarification is just modification. Modification means you allow to add some chemicals into the process. Those chemicals will do what? They do flocculation or they do coagulation.
Yes.
You have heard about fitkiri, you know, alum, right? Alum. If you have a mud water and you allow to add some alum into it, what will happen? The mud water become clear. But if you look at the bottom of the pot, it will be having muds. Why? That is actually called flocculation. Flocculation, coagulation, these are the processes. Actually, what happen exactly? The particles are individually floating, but if you add some flocculants or if you add some coagulants, the particles will come closer to one another. They will stick. So once they will stick, it become heavy, so it will settle down. Or it will become big size, it will settle down. So it is a faster process actually. Industry don't wait for much time. So they do clarification instead of decantation. You understand my point? You just add chemicals, within some minute, minerals will settle down, you will get a clear water. You can separate the clear water. Dewatering, sorry. So this again, filtration is very simple. You take a filter and pass through it. So you will have a residue and you have a liquid at the end. Is it okay? So these are the four principles fundamental operations: combination, sizing, concentration, dewatering. Okay. So this is the step also. If there will be a question in the exam like what is the sequence of mineral processing, you can draw a flow sheet like this. And you need to explain in one word. What is the meaning of dewatering? What is the meaning of concentration? What is the meaning of sizing? Or you may get a question like why we are doing also, why we are doing combination, why we are doing sizing, why we are doing concentration, and why we are doing dewatering. Right? You can able to answer it in the exam. Fine. Before moving into 4, let me discuss about this one. So, as I told, grinding is always done in solid medium. Minerals or ores are in solids always. But once you move into grinding operation, we use water there. Mixture of water and mineral. That's why it is called wet grinding, not dry grinding. Okay, can you tell me, just think of it. Take 1 minute and think why we don't prefer dust. Okay, fine. He's one point is right. If you do, because already grinding means already particle size is so fine, dust will be there. Emission of dust will be there. Dust pollution will be there. The people working over there will face some issue. In respiratory issues will be there, right? They have some issues with respiratory system, right? So that's why we prefer wet grinding, so that the dust problem will be solved, right? If you do dry grinding, then lot of dust emission will be there, so lot of issues will be there. One problem can be solved by using wet grinding. Anything else? Can you tell me? Huh? Temperature. Temperature is not a factor much. Damage. Yeah, it can be. But another issue is sound pollution. You are doing crushing and grinding. Normally in the kitchen, if you do mixing, you use a mixture, right? So lot of sound is coming, but you are dealing with rocks and minerals, so lot of sound emission will be there. So better you do wet grinding, so it will absorb the sound energy, right? So noise pollution can be solved. So one is you can solve the noise pollution, you can solve the
Dust.
but gas pollution or atmospheric pollution or dust pollution. But the most important is we can save power also. If you are going for wet grinding, we can save energy and power. Lot of power and energy can be saved. Because it becomes somewhat soft. If you add water with mineral, it becomes somewhat soft because minerals have porosity, they will absorb the water. So grinding will be easier due to absorption of this water, right? It becomes soft obviously, no? That's why if you remember, in the kitchen also we add some water during mixing, so that it become easily right? Anyways, so we can save lot of power and energy if we are going for wet grinding, right? And another point is the throw foot means we can charge more amount of material into the mill also. During grinding, we are using mills, we can charge more amount of material per unit time or per unit volume of the mill size. Because it is a liquid form, it can easily continuously go in and go out after process, right? So throughput will increase. Because solid, you understood why I am saying, the point is, if you consider a liquid and solid, which will occupy more volume? Solid or liquid, which will occupy more volume? Liquid will occupy more volume. Solid, no, obviously, because solid have empty space between them. Lot of gaps will be there, interstitial sites will be there, right? But if you convert into liquid, those gaps will be filled up. So that's why your throughput will increase. the capacity of the mill can be utilized properly, right? So this is another advantage. And one problem also can be solved. These fine minerals have moisture, but if you are doing grinding with moist particles, that also gets stick to the wall, that also stick to the grinding media. It may chalk. The flow will be chalked. The flow will be not proper, right? So chalking issue can be solved, sticking issue can be solved, right? Because it is completely water, not slurry. It will help in grinding only. It can easily flow. There will be no chalking, there will be no sticking. See, suppose your mineral is getting stick to the wall, what will happen? It will grow with time. The volume will reduce, no? You are using a mill for grinding, and during milling process you are doing dry grinding. What will happen? It will stick to the wall, so the diameter of the mill will reduce with time because of sticking, because stick will grow, no? Right? So that problem also can be solved. So that is why this is also an important question. Why wet grinding, not dry grinding? You may get a question from this, direct question. Why we prefer wet grinding, not dry grinding? You can write the answers. Is it okay? Okay, we'll move to this one, reduction ratio. So reduction ratio is nothing but D feed by D product. This is the reduction ratio. Or output, input and output. F is nothing but feed. Can reduction ratio be a decimal? Is it? Can reduction ratio be a decimal? Huh? So this kind of question you may get. Can reduction ratio be a decimal? He already told. Okay, you people just think of it. Reduction ratio is nothing but diameter of the feed size divided by diameter of the product size. Feed size will be obviously big. Product size is always small, right? So can it be a decimal? Decimal. Suppose you are feeding 6 inch and you are getting suppose 1 inch size. Is it decimal? If I will take 5 inch and 1 inch, it will be decimal. So my question was, can reduction ratio be a decimal? Never. It is always greater, no? Because feed size is always bigger, product size is always smaller. It cannot be a decimal. Is it okay, or do you have any confusion in this? Right? So now, what is the significance of this reduction ratio? So the significance of reduction ratio is what? We always choose a particular crusher on the basis of reduction ratio, because each crusher has particular reduction ratio capacity, right? That means suppose I am talking about jaw crusher. There is a crusher called jaw crusher. Its reduction ratio will be 6 inch by 1 inch, 6:1, for example. There is another crusher which may be 5 inch by 1 inch. There will be another one will be 10 inch by 1 inch, right? So if your feed size is 10 inch, for example, let it be 10 inch. Can you use a jaw crusher? You cannot use a jaw crusher because it is 6 inch by 1 inch. That means the feed size is already very big. You cannot use that crusher. So selection of crusher will be done on the basis of this reduction ratio, and it will save time, save money also. Can you tell me how it will save time and save money? Yeah, if suppose your feed size is 6 inch, but you are buying one crusher whose reduction ratio is 10:1. So you are giving what? That means you are giving more money in that. No need of that. You already know your feed size. From the mining, you already know your feed size. So buy such crusher which is having 6:1 reduction ratio. Why you go for 10:1? 10:1 means you have to put lot of energy in it. That cost will be high, right? So you can save the cost. And suppose you are feeding 8 inch now, but your reduction ratio is 6:1. You are feeding a size of 8 inch. What will happen? It may damage your equipment. It may need more amount of energy to crush it, right? It may damage. Once it will damage, you need to do relining or what? You have to wait for some time. So it will not save your time now. So that's why these are very advantage. You can write. You can save time. It can save your cost, right? And you can achieve a good efficiency also after reduction. Good efficiency can be also gained. These are the advantages. Okay, I will show you some images here. Then we need to do grinding, and crushing is always done in solid medium. So this is one of the crusher, you can see. This is input 6 inch, and this is output 1 inch. So reduction ratio is 6/1. Is it okay? And feed size is always bigger, product size is always small. Okay, fine. This way. So this is just showing you compression and fracture is happening. Okay, anyways, will not difficult. See this one. Just read it. See. Crushing is happening, and this is called actually impact crusher. Okay. So there is a crusher for cone crusher. This reduction ratio is 5:1. See, I told you about this polymetallic nodules. Okay. It contains how much? 24 to 30% of manganese is there. See? It contains copper, cobalt, nickel. These are very expensive. Nickel, cobalt are very expensive. So this is actually a grinder. This is called ball mill. We are doing crushing and grinding, so grinding will be done by using ball mill. So this is an example of ball mill. This will rotate like this, and balls will be there. So these are crushers. Right? We will discuss that in details. These are polymetallic nodules. So you may get a question like, draw the diagrams of this products of mineral processing. So what are the products you understood? Concentrate, middlings and tannins. So see, this is what? Tannins. This is middling, and this is your concentrate. So initially it is locked. You are doing size reduction. Lot of middlings are here. Finally you are again doing size reduction. They get released. Finally they get all released. In the last stage they got all released. So this kind of diagram you have to draw in exam. Is it clear?
Yes.
Can you tell me 1, 2, 3, 4? Which one is concentrate, which one is middling, and which one is tannins? So the 4 one is tannin. This one is concentrate, and this one is middling. This one is also middling. These 2, 3 are middling. This is concentrate and this is tannin. Because the white region is GAN, the black region is your valuable unit. Okay, fine. Then waiting for